Right then, hello everybody, welcome back to another news video. Now I haven't done one in a while. We'll be talking about the latest Manchester United news about Erik ten Hag and the future of him at the football club. We'll be talking about potential replacements and also I'll give you my opinion on Erik ten Hag being sacked in a separate video. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. So I'm going to give you the news first, and then we'll kind of dissect it and whatnot. But let's get straight into it. So Manchester United boss Erik ten Hag is not expected to be sacked before the international break. The Red Devils hierarchy and intent of giving the 54-year-old Dutchman the upcoming games against Porto and Aston Villa. These games against Porto and Aston Villa, two big games for Ten Hag, and as I said, they basically will just save his job if he can win both of them, or even probably win one of them. It also depends on the manner in which we win the games. I think it was a very, very poor performance. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but the sacking of Ten Hag is getting ever closer. With the results. I mean, the one yesterday against Spurs was terrible. It was honestly a disaster. But listen, for me, do I think Ten Hag will get sacked? Listen, as it's saying there, if he loses the next two games, Porto, Villa, he will get sacked, and that would obviously lead us to look for a new replacement, which I'll talk about later on. But look at the managers that kind of in place at the minute. You got Ruud van Nistelrooy, assistant kind of manager. As I said, Porto and Villa games are huge. Villa are a top side. They will cause us threats away from home. Ten Hag is without his captain, who has not been so much of a captain this season, in Bruno Fernandes. Porto's a tough game as well. Listen, they're not all that, but still a top side away from home. It is kind of a UCL fixture. Obviously, it's in the Europa League, but a very tough game, which we'll be previewing tomorrow. It is really disappointing, because I wanted Ten Hag to succeed, but I don't think he's helping himself. It's been 3 years since being at the football club. There's no real identity. There's no performances on the pitch. There's no structure. There's no personality on the pitch. And there's always comes a period where the players kind of give up. For Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, with that game against Watford, where obviously he did end up getting sacked. But the next thing read, Ineos are known admirers of Gareth Southgate and Graham Potter, and there will likely be candidates should a change be made. Ineos has tried in the past to bring Potter to Nice. Potter has been paid by Chelsea through September as part of the settlement, and as is admitted, he is ready to get back to management after leaving Stamford Bridge in April 2023 and not working since. Eddie Howe, who is under consideration for the England job, is another name who United discussed over the summer. Is it likely Thomas Tuchel would be a front runner, even though the German would welcome a fresh approach? Manchester United will look for a more experienced coach than Ruud van Nistelrooy should Erik ten Hag get sacked. Listen, as I said, United have been talking about replacements for a year now. Since more or less last season. Well, not a year, like 4 or 5 months. But ever since kind of that FA Cup, that sort of period there's a lot of pressure, a lot of kind of intent on Ten Hag being sacked. Now, as I said, if I've talked about replacements, Graham Potter, listen, I think at Brighton he did a very, very good job. And I think he kind of realised it was a big step going from Brighton to Chelsea, which was obviously evident. Graham Potter, for me, a very good manager. As I said, at Brighton, but at Chelsea didn't work out. I would have seen him at United. I mean, over Gareth Southgate, 100% I'd have Graham Potter over Gareth Southgate. I don't think there's much difference in him. As well as someone else, Eddie Howe. This needs to be a decent job at Newcastle. I don't think he'd want to leave there unless he gets sacked. With the way that United will be if Erik ten Hag gets sacked, it will have to take a really strong mentally stable sort of guy who can really come in and really take that job with his hands, because it isn't going to be a tough job. There's going to be players who Ten Hag signed. You look at the lot of signings that he's made. I mean, his whole team, Onan to sign him, Masraoui to sign him. He really developed the low. Martinez, De Ligt, Ugarte, mainly we brought through, Højlund, Xerxes, all these sort of players Ten Hag has signed. Basically a whole nother team would have to come in under the new regime, kind of work with that, and they're going to be some places they don't like, some places they like. They're going to have to force it out. It'd be a whole another process. But for me, I'd much rather keep Ten Hag. I'm not saying to the end of the season. He's a manager who a couple months ago won us a trophy against Man City, deservedly so. we haven't had the best start to the season. I have seen a lot of development and a lot of sort of momentum building with Ten Hag. We've had a few bad performances, and I understand we're not showing much identity. Manchester United will meet with Ten Hag. He has told them, and he will be told he has until the international break to save his job. Also, what's being reported, there was a players' meeting between Bruno Fernandes and some of the players at Old Trafford, so let's see what happens with that. But listen, let me know your thoughts. I'm going to do a video talking about Ten Hag and what should happen. But this is kind of the news. Should I think Ten Hag gets sacked? In a nutshell, no. I think he should give it a few more weeks at least. But listen, it is disappointing. As I said, I wanted Ten Hag to succeed. The likelihood of him succeeding is unreliable. Like, yeah, he has 2 games to save his job ultimately. And we'll see going into next Monday in the international break. We'll be able to know if Ten Hag is gonna be at Manchester United. We'll have a more clear understanding. These games are huge for Ten Hag, and he must get them right in order to save his job. I can understand the argument that not many people want to see us win because they want Ten Hag sacked. You always want United to win. I've been a supporter of the club for a long time, and there has been some tough periods ultimately, but yeah, I think Ten Hag, he'll probably stay. And I want him to succeed. This was a chance for us. Listen, we want to win the league by 2028. We're way off that. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. This has been the news. I'm going to do a separate video, probably be out at some point, talking about Ten Hag and the potential sacking. But let me know your thoughts. Peace.